buying them, returning them, exchanging them. Every time he asked her, she would just flat out refuse to answer them. And so I'm giving the tour on the ground floor, which is where our merchandising department is, to point out the different areas. And then we go upstairs to our customer loyalty team, which is what we call our call center. And we have this whiteboard there where it has all our stats, like what sales came through the phone and how quickly we answered the phone calls and so on, how many phone calls we took. And I'm explaining all these stats, and I turn around and he's disappearing. I'm like, that's kind of weird. So I kind of backtrack a couple aisles, and I find out that he had gone down halfway down one of the aisles, sat next to one of our customer service reps, and forced her to pull up his wife's account. And he discovered that she had spent over $62,000 on wow. Yeah, hopefully we weren't instrumental in any divorce proceedings. Anyways, before getting into Zappos, I wanted to talk about what led me to Zappos. And the story actually begins with pizza. This was in college. I was running my roommate and I, his name is Sanjay, and I were running a pizza business on the ground floor of our dorm. And we had, I don't know, 300 or 400 students in the dorm living right above this place that we had set aside for the pizza business. And we were responsible for everything. We invested in pizza ovens, dealt with suppliers, were hiring other employees, which were basically other students, and occasionally I was making pizzas myself. And this guy named Alfred, who actually eventually became the CFO at Zappos, and this is actually how we met. He would stop by every night and order a large pepperoni pizza from me, which wasn't actually that weird because I had heard about his reputation for eating a lot. He had nicknames like Human Trash Compactor, Monster, so on. And as we, over time, as we became friends, I personally witnessed it'd be like 10 of us late night at a Chinese restaurant, and he would literally finish everyone's leftovers. So, not that weird, but then sometimes a few hours later, he could come by again and order another large pepperoni pizza from me. I was just like, wow, he must be really hungry. Well, I found out several years later, Alfred was taking the pizzas upstairs and selling them off by the slice. So that's how he became the CFO at Zappos. So after the pizza business, then the same roommate I was running the pizza business, we got together and formed a company called Link Exchange. We specialized in online advertising. This was during the early .com days, and grew that to about 100 people and sold it to Microsoft 2.5 years later. But what a lot of people don't know is the real reason why we ended up selling the company. And the real reason is because it just ended up not being fun anymore, and the company culture had gone completely downhill. I still remember when it was just 5 or 10 of us. It was actually a lot of fun. It was your typical .com. We were working around the clock, sleeping under our desks, had no idea what day of the week it was, but it was a lot of fun. And as we started growing, super exciting, and we started hiring friends and friends of friends. And I had a friend of mine that was actually on this cross-country road trip from New York to San Francisco, and we needed help for the weekend, and so he stayed for that, and then that ended up becoming a week, 2 weeks, and then he actually eventually joined the company full-time. And so this whole strategy of hiring friends and friends of friends worked really well until we got to about 20 people, and then we ran into a major problem. And the problem was we basically ran out of friends. And so then we had to hire based on resumes, and we'd never done that before. We were fresh out of college. And so I think through trial and error, we did a pretty decent job of hiring people with the right skill sets and experiences. But we just didn't know any better to pay attention to company culture. And by the time we got to 100 people, I myself dreaded getting out of bed in the morning to go to the office of my own company, which was definitely a weird feeling. And so